Music in modern anime is something I believe is all too often overlooked, both in production and by viewers. I believe it stems from several factors such as budgeting, necessity, and quality. Whatever the reason is, I often find myself struggling to remember recent anime where the soundtrack was truly integral or memorable. Thus, I have decided to make a 3-part series highlighting my personal favorite composers for modern anime and why their music makes all the difference in the projects that they are a part of. This is the first of the 3. This is the world-building music of Kevin Penkin. Kevin Penkin is a US-born, Australia-raised composer, known predominantly for his work in anime such as The Rising of the Shield Hero, Tower of God, and Made in Abyss, of which the latter two won him the Best Score award in the Crunchyroll Anime Awards. He first began his journey at the tender age of 7 playing the flute, and realized just a few years later that no matter what, he wanted to pursue professionally creating music for video games. After, from what I can gather, was a basically providential encounter with one Nobuo Uematsu, the composer for the Final Fantasy series, when he was just 18, Penkin collaborated with Uematsu on a little-known otome game called Juzainji Ingetsu Sangokurin. If I butchered that, I'm sorry, but I could not even find the pronunciation online. From there, and throughout his college career, he continued to work on video game soundtracks, even returning to work alongside Uematsu again for a game called Norn 9, another otome game. These encounters and experiences led to him working on scores for Kinema Citrus anime, starting with Under the Dog, a Kickstarter crowdfunded OVA, or ONA, and then subsequently Norn 9's anime adaptation in 2016. This relationship with Kinema Citrus has continued on to present day, with Penkin composing the music for most of Kinema Citrus's long-running series, as mentioned before, like Made in Abyss and The Rising of the Shield Hero. I was first introduced to Kevin Penkin's music back in 2019 whenever I saw the first season of The Rising of the Shield Hero. Now, I was still fairly new to anime at that time, about like a year and a half into my journey with it, and I was still just kind of devouring literally everything that was coming out season to season. But I can distinctly remember Rising of the Shield Hero in part because of the score. Not only was the story gripping, or the animation stunning, or the characters well developed, but there was this music score that just swept me away and fully complemented the world it was created for, rather than just quirky insert songs that fit a certain scene or mood or tone. It was as if the music and the world were created at the same time, seamlessly fitting together rather than written after the fact. Now, some of you are already thinking to yourselves, well, of course the score is like that. If it's any good, it has to be. And at the risk of drawing out what is definitely a straw man argument that I've put here, I don't really know if y'all understand how difficult it is to achieve that level of synergy in any medium, not just anime. The ones that do are few and far between, and that's why they're really famous. It speaks volumes to me that not only the music that I've had personal interaction with, but also the music that I heard while doing research for this video, all the stuff from his old otome games and all of that stuff, that nigh on the entire library of Kevin Penkin has such a depth of tonal acuity to it that fully complements any world that he's been a part of. As Penkin himself describes during questions about his creative process, he begins by looking at major components of the project he's a part of, game or anime, and drawing out what he has called several times the color palette. As he tells it, every anime or game that he's a part of has a structure to it visually that translates to certain music techniques or instruments. From there, he puts together the puzzle pieces at whatever level of experimentation the project managers allow, and to me, as a barely trained musician and just kind of broad enjoyer of all kinds of media, this sounds like friggin' wizardry to me, and that's just fine. Work your magic, man. But to the point, the method that Penkin employs is why I titled this The World-Building Music of Kevin Penkin. While other composers I'm sure follow similar methods to Penkin during the creative process, there is something unique to Penkin that I feel lends itself particularly to the world-building aspect of music. For lack of a better way to put it, it's as if I am hearing the music not just of the scene or the moment shown in front of me visually, it's more as if I am privy to hearing the music of the world itself. The grass swaying, the water rippling, the wind whipping, all translated much like a spoken language to this kind of sonic suite that speaks for the world. The closest terminology I could equate this to would be diegetic music. Diegetic music is music that is heard on screen while you are seeing what is making the music. For example, a film that's showing an orchestra and the orchestra that's being shown is playing the music you're hearing. By that definition I just said, and by the description I gave earlier, Penkin's music is diegetic in that the world itself is the orchestra that we see and hear the music from. Maybe that's a bit of a stretch, but I'm trying to ground this in some kind of concrete terminology instead of just the abstract emotions that are going through my brain. All of this, of course, doesn't mean that writing music to a scene or an emotion in a scene is bad. I just would say that this is just a specific method that Penkin employs, but he does it so well that I would almost say it's his signature. I look forward to what Penkin will leave his signature on next, to end poetically. I found it funny that in an interview back in 2017 for Crunchyroll, right after Made in Abyss came out and it was all the rage, Penkin said two things. One was that he would die or could die a happy man if he got to make any kind of score for Pokemon, big or small scale. And during that same question, the question was posed of if he could or would ever consider or want to rescore an existing piece of media, film, anime, video game, whatever, which he kind of dodged by answering with the Pokemon question. And now, in 2023, this week actually, there is a little mini-series starting for Pokemon set in the Paldea region, like a 4-part mini-series, and Kevin Penkin is doing the music for it. And not only that, but it was also recently announced that in early 2024, there is the new Spice and Wolf remake that is coming out, and Kevin Penkin is in charge of the music for that. And if that doesn't count as a rescore, I don't know what does. So yeah. Also, as a side note, in all of my research today, I got to see the trailer for the Apothecary Diaries, and I will just say the trailer music alone, between Kevin and his fellow composers that worked on it, sent chills and goosebumps up and down my entire body. I really hope to hear more of his music for the years to come, and I really hope that I've been able to convey a bit of what makes both Penkin and his compositions so important to me. Thank you all so much for watching. Mr. Kevin Penkin, if you ever see this, I really hope that my fumbling tirade expresses a tiny bit of the depth to which your music has touched my soul. I hope that one day I could sit down with you and ask you some burning questions, but we shall see how the world turns. Thank you all so much for watching. Again, I'm Papadopoulos, and I'll see y'all soon.